Here's our golfer again from the straight-on view. Notice that we have the left elbow pointing a little bit out and not on a straight line. I'd like to see this go away. I would like to see the lead arm be nice and straight with the elbow down. That's a very difficult thing to do sometimes, especially if we've had some injuries in the past, but let's work on that, see if we can get you to do that. Now we're going to move into the shot. Pretty decent takeaway here. A little bit of a collapsing of the right knee and too much bend in the left elbow there. We need to keep that elbow straight. Good movement into the ball right there, but it stops moving. So you end up scooping right there. That's because the right knee hasn't turned and rotated into the left knee. So your right arm can't go out as far as your left arm can. So your left arm has to bend and you create a chicken wing. And you end up leading the swing with your head rather than with your lower body. We'll work on that. Okay, we have here a remarkably good setup. Everything is square, the hands are body centered. And by that I mean if I drew a line right down through the head, right through the sternum, right down through, even though, right there, those are hands or body centered. Where they join is exactly in the middle of the body, right at the bottom of the sternum. What we want to look at is, do we get to the power side of the swing, which is right there. Let's turn into the shot. A little collapsing of the the left knee, I apologize, and a straightening of the right knee. Now we've lost any athletic advantage we had in the setup. This swing has become weak, and he's out of balance. He can be pushed over pretty easily from this position here. Notice when he gets to the top, his hands go out. That's pretty good, actually. That's a great athletic move. He's created 90 degrees. Very good. Turning into the shot. Lost a little of the club leg, not too much. Powering into the shot. He hasn't moved forward. That's why it's going to be hitting it thin or fat. Either one is caused because you haven't moved into that red line. You've got to rotate into the shot. Remember, it's a turn swing. We turn back, then we got to turn forward. We pivot on the back leg, and then we pivot onto the front leg, just like we're throwing a baseball. He's throwing from the back leg. Left arm is turning into a chicken wing. He has no choice because he hasn't turned completely into the shot. Pretty good athleticism there, though, but he's still trying to look where the ball was. At this point, it's okay to let your head rotate into the shot. Here we see a golfer using one of my favorite training aids, which is the alignment stick. They're available at Home Depot for a lot less than they are at a golf shop. Let's draw a line, see where he's trying to aim to. Now what we want to ascertain is everything parallel to his stick. And you can see his left foot's a little back, and his left shoulder's probably a little back from that. Now we'll draw another color line in for his swing plane, which is right through the lower part of his back. Perfect setup right now. Knees are flexed. Let's see how the takeaway works. Taking the club back on the plane. This man's done a lot of work. Great takeaway. Bringing the club up. Now at this point right here, the club needs to drop back on its shaft plane. See, if it dropped back, if he dropped on that line, he could throw that club right back out to the target. But he goes over the top instead of bringing the club down. Now he's way outside the swing plane, and he's going to have to flip that club to get it back onto target line, and the ball is going to go left. That's because he's swinging left instead of swinging out on his target line. Very frustrating move, I know, because you feel like you put on a good swing, but everything went wrong. And it all happens right there at the top, right about here. Perfect. Bring the club right back down on its plane line from right there instead of outside, and you fix the problem. Sounds simple, very difficult. Here we see a golfer in the classic pro golfer setup. The butt is out, knees are flexed, the hands are hanging well below his chin. If I were to draw a line, you'd see it's probably directly under his chin where the hands are. Look at that. Very classic swing. Getting harder and harder to do as we get older, but it's a great setup. The one thing I don't like is the fact that his feet are aimed considerably to the right of his target line. I know he's not hitting over there. He's trying to hit it parallel to his shoulders. So let's see what happens in his takeaway. Let's go ahead and draw the club shaft line in here. Again, notice that the club is in the lower part of his back, not the upper part of his back, maybe back centered. Let's watch the takeaway. Perfect takeaway. Look at that. Awesome takeaway. But you know what happened? He didn't do any of that with his shoulders. That's almost all hands. And he's collapsed in right now. He's collapsed way inside with his hands. Right elbow is flaring straight out. At this point now, it's going to be very difficult for him to do anything but take the club over the top and outside the swing plane. See that? Because the leverage he's producing is that way with his right elbow. That's the push angle right there of the right hand. If the right elbow was down, he could pull down, but he can't pull down from there. So he's going to turn into the shot, pulls up and out of the swing, and the ball will probably go off to the right. Let's see what happens. Oh, there it goes, off to the right. Kind of on his foot line. He's trying to swing it more to the left, but it's very difficult. There it goes off to the right. Well hit, well struck, but probably not on the line that he wanted to go on. We got to work on alignment and keeping that right elbow from flying out. This is the same golfer we saw with the near-perfect setup down the line, but with the back foot slightly inside. And you can see it slightly inside again here. And he's got a forward press. The left shoulder's a little bit back. But what a great setup. He's got a good forward press going on. It looks really good. Let's check his power line here. And let's just check his club line at impact. Let's see what's going on here. Club line at impact should be about up somewhere along there, up towards his shoulder. Let's see if he can turn into the shot. Pretty decent takeaway. Now from down the line, we saw the club went too far to the inside. We can see that here also. Getting behind him a little bit. He's having a hard time keeping control of it. Probably will collapse real close. Now the club head is really close to his body here. I mean the club handle, the grip. Instead of getting width now, he's kind of collapsed into it. He's rolled his right knee so far and is that outside, and that's what I mean. What I mean by that is it's done this here. The right knee is pointing in the wrong direction. He needs to stay pointing over his toes. That's where the collapse takes place. He's going to move into the power slot. Keeps great club lag right there. See if he continues moving into the... Nope, he doesn't. See, instead of moving forward, he starts going up. You got to move in one direction or the other. So if you don't move forward, the only other direction to go is up. And that's what's happening here. So at impact, again, scooping the shot. Instead of the club being on the red line now, the club is well past the hands. We've got to get you moving into the shot. He never gets his tip around. His head is the only thing that meets the green line. Absolutely no thrust of the lower body at all. Sometimes it's pretty intimidating to critique a golfer that's a foot and a half taller than you. But I want you to recognize that the things I'm telling you are not optional. These are things you have to do in every swing to be successful. Right now you're set up, again, we got the feet going like you want to hit the ball over this fence over here. And I'm sure that's not what you're intending. You're intending to hit the ball down your target line, which is out this way. But you're not set up parallel to that. You got a great setup in your back, but your hands are way too high. Again, under the chins, we got to drop those hands down a little bit to get you in a better position to swing the golf club correctly. So let's get rid of some of these lines. Your back angle's good. Your right foot's just back too far. Your knees aren't parallel to your target line. So let's watch the takeaway here. Way too far to the inside. Remember, not optional. Club has to be there. Club head has to be there at the midpoint of the takeaway. That's not an option. Here we go. The right elbow is out. Not an option. Right elbow has to be down. We have to be in the waiter position at this point. Not an option. We'd like it to be, but with those separated that much, you're in a real bad position. Only a couple of golfers have got away with separating the elbows that far. One of them was Jack Nicklaus, but he did a great job of turning that trail elbow right back down to the ground early. You're doing a pretty decent job there, but your elbows are still separated too far, and you're popping up out of the swing. See that? Up and out of the swing, you're falling back on your heels. Your hands are way above the swing line. Now you're standing straight up. Remember earlier your spine was at 90 degrees. Look where the ball is. It's way out on the toe of the club. Off to the right the ball goes. You're standing straight up. Absolutely no rotation. You're getting no mass into your swing. Let's work on that. Okay, here we have a golfer in a really strong power position. This is what a power golfer would set up like. I'd like to see the left shoulder a little more parallel to the target line, but this is a very strong position. Then what happens, we'll watch, the hands are going to do a forward press, but instead of rotating closed like you would in real life, on the real golf swing, he's going to rotate. It's really hard. We're going to do it really slow here. Up. You see that? We missed it. There goes. There it is. Forward press is just pushing the hands away. We need to push the hands down the target line, not away from ourselves. See how it went away? I can see more of the back of the left hand. I should see less of the back of the left hand. So we got a pretty good takeaway. Good wrist hinge right there. Good position. Solid posting of the right leg. A little too much right tightening of the right leg, but not bad. Look at the position there. At this point right now, I'd like to see the right shoulder back. Now remember, our shoulders can move independently of each other. We've got to let the right shoulder drift back. We can't be tense there. That kills the golf swing. Moving into the front side, not bad there. Look at that move into the front side. Pretty good move right there. Not bad there. At this point, right there, if he'd have just turned the left hand over a little bit more, we would have had a pretty perfect golf swing. All in all, I'll take it. Nice rotation. Good job. Here we see a pretty good athletic setup. The right foot's a little bit back, but we are playing a driver or a long club, so that's probably understandable. Arms are nice and straight. We could have a little more bend in the hips. The back's a little straight up and down. But let's go ahead and draw in the club line here. Let's see if she's... Whoops, I didn't like that line at all. Let's see if she can stay above the blue line. Again, to the inside. Keep repeating, guys. That's not an option. You've got to be there with the club head at that point right now. So we've got to work on that for everybody. Turn to the top. Good turn. The hands could... We need the hands, or... let me restate this. We need the shoulders and the forearm to be parallel at this point. That would still be on plane. See that? So if you got your hands up, you'd still be on the same plane line as the club was at setup. Okay, so we're going to continue on through to the impact zone. Drops the hands in nicely. A little bit above it. All in all, what I would call a really good swing. Good turn. Look at the shoulders on the plane line. Turn right on through to the finish. I'd like to see a little bit more of your spikes down here, but that was a good swing. Okay, we see a very strong and athletic setup. The lead hand is very, very strong. trying to eliminate a push or a slice. Let's watch the club go back. Good backswing right there. Look at how solid those are, very athletic. 90-degree setup, solid left arm, moving into the shot. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure she gets forward here. We've got to get past that on the way forward. Look at the move. Very good, very good. Almost through it, but then she stops rotating. Although she gets her arms extended very nicely. I would say, all in all, that was a pretty good swing, but we still want to get the right knee moving up here to the left knee, so we've got all of our movement going forward. We don't want our head in front of our hip. And if I draw a line from the head down, you see it's well in front of the hip. We want to get turned through the shot. Okay?